Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to Court of the Rings on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I am Lotro's Community Manager, Cordovan, and I'm going to be with you for the next hour or so, going through some of the latest news. I'll have time for your questions and answers, and we'll be doing a little bit of gameplay as well over on Langerval. So, first off, I wanted to apologize real quick for last week's show. I had an issue where I was streaming it, or trying to stream it in 1080p, and running into an issue from the house. And when I went to look back on the video afterwards, I was like, oh my gosh, it was so framey and just like stuttery on the video. That wasn't actually the game client. That was 100% my fault, trying to stream to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch simultaneously in 1080p from my home bandwidth, which is not bad. I'm not complaining about my home internet too much for the most part, but that's asking a lot from it, and too much, as it turns out. So, while I investigate some other possibilities to get us into 1080p, it's just got to be a no-go on that one. So sorry about that last week, everyone. I guess some people didn't have an issue. I think if you had a lot of bandwidth in your home, it was probably far less of an issue. But when I went to look at my archive video, it was pretty rough. So sorry about that, everyone. We're here this week. It's a new week. Update 28.3 has been released, and we have a couple of things we can talk about that today. Otherwise, I would direct you to the dev tracker. We can also talk a little bit about some of the goings-on in the community and some of the goings-on kind of in the game. So first off, to get to a little bit of news, character transfers had to be temporarily turned off a little bit yesterday. And it's going to last for a couple of days. I'm going to say into early part of next week. Although maybe we'll see if we get it done today. So the reason character transfers are temporarily disabled is that we're migrating kind of an internal system. And while we do that, we had to disable transfers during that process. And it's just going to take a couple of days, work days, to get done. So hopefully we'll have information about that in the near future. I know that we're way behind on offering world transfers from the closed game worlds. That is something that is very much on my agenda and on the agenda of a couple of people in the office too. Those people have had a lot on their plate in recent months, and however, we should be at the point now that we should be able to get to this in the very near future. So fingers crossed on that, but I know that that's a big ask in the community to return character transfers from closed game worlds. It's a big deal to us too, and we want to be able to offer it. We have some work that we're going to have to do still, and we do intend to do that work in the near future. What else should I talk a little bit about? I mean, I can get into 28.3, and I will. But I did want to do a couple of things outside of that, however, as well. I did want to call out a couple of things in the community that I'd really like to make sure people are aware of. First off, I did yesterday post the soundtrack to Update 28, War of Three Peaks, over on our YouTube page. Oh no. Here we go. This YouTube page. There we go. And so I'd encourage you to take a look at that. It makes good background music while you quest and what have you. And there's 20 tracks there, all by one Bill Champagne. And just free to listen to. And you can do with what you want, really. I know that there's lots of interest in us having a more, let's call it, commercial structure in place in terms of releasing this music on things like places where you could download it just as a music file, or perhaps purchase it as a music file. And those are things we'd love to be able to do in the future, but we are just not set up to do that right now. And we haven't been in quite some time. So, but I did want to call that out, because that's a big thing that's been going on in the community. A couple of other things here then as well. I wanted to make sure that I quick gave D&Co du milieu. I know you guys and gals, I am the worst. I just don't know how to do that. Wanted to give them a quick shout out for the X4 Creators Selection. This is like their big holiday vote. This is your chance to vote. They've got their own picks already, but you can vote. So go take a look at that. That's going to be, you know, well, if it's not in this week's speaking, it should be. And we'll get to that. I also wanted to call out Winter Stock 8 that took place last weekend. And you can find the full slate of videos of that, I believe, over on Druid's Fire's channel. There's a lot of good music there and a lot of great performances. So check it out if you would like to. Please. And then finally, there's one other... I wonder if I can... Where do I find this now? Here we go. There was a big bomb dropped in the community this week. A bomb of happiness. A happy bomb. By some work by one Andang, who made this article for LotroPlayers.com. Top 25 Lotro videos of all time. And, well, obviously, as you can see, this is not wanting to display quite right for me on the live stream. I'm having a few issues with the CSS or something. But there we go. Well, still. Either way, we're just going to roll with it. It has a hard time calling up all these YouTube videos and things. But, number one, I mean, there's 25 videos to watch. But number one, it only had like 1,800 views when I was looking at that after that thread came out. And I was like, this video needs way more than 1,800 views. So, I would encourage you to go to LotroPlayers.com, follow the links through to that stuff, and discover some really incredible Lotro music videos on... not just music videos, videos on YouTube. Not sure I'd describe this week in the community as a bomb of happiness. No, I would not probably describe that as well. That post was a bomb of happiness. My job performance, according to the forums, may be just a bomb. But I'm doing the best I can here, everyone, and I'll continue to endeavor to do so. Let me take a real quick look at the release notes, see what we should talk here about that. So we went live with our adjusted legendary item, Scroll of Empowerment, and such. And you can find the release notes for it over on Lotro.com. I'm not going to go through all the numbers. This just would... Trying to read all this out loud is going to kind of just all blend together into something that doesn't make a lot of sense. But we have made some, changes that we knew were going to be pretty unpopular, and we are continuing to react to those changes. I'll get to that in just a second. We do also have, though, an update 28.3. There's a couple of things in update 28.3 that we wanted to get out, despite the feedback we'd had received about these Scrolls of Empowerment in particular, and that is that we have some needed adjustments on the monster play side of things. So give that a shot through the weekend maybe or something, and let me know kind of where we sit in terms of current freak versus creep balance and what have you. I would also quick point out that we have a big change, a big positive change in the game launcher. Patching via launcher should go much, much faster, especially if you have not played in a while. Now, there's one caveat to that, and that as we went live here with update 28.3, you have to initially download the stuff that allows the launcher to be faster. And so what'll happen is you'll load the launcher, it'll load kind of back to its old pace. The launcher will reboot, and then you should be in a position of receiving a much faster patching system, in particular for the launcher. And this is something that we've been working on for a while, just a release note, but it entails actually a pretty positive change in the environment here. So hopefully, you find that to be the case. We also wanted to get update 28.3 out because of this effect display system bug that we have been able to correct. We have been hearing, from you for quite some time now, that you want us to continue to work on game performance and lag, and update 28.3 does have a pretty significant change in that regard. That being the effect display system has been updated pretty significantly to improve client performance, that being the focus of the work during group combat, particularly in raids. So this aims to address raid lag in particular. Now, that's not to say there's not going to be any more raid lag, but hopefully raid lag being caused by the effect display system should be greatly reduced as of update 28.3 here. So we haven't had a lot of feedback on that change in particular, probably because a lot of people are raiding this weekend, for example. But we really would love to get your feedback. If you have some in-game rating experience that you can pass along to us, we'd love to know a little bit more about what the results of this week's work were, because it has the potential to be pretty significant. We do have a known issue about characters not receiving their proper heritage titles for their newly selected nationality during a race change. This is something we're going to be correcting, I think, in the next patch. So I would call that out as well. Before I get too far away from update 28.3, though, let me put this up. Alright, so we do have one thing in the works related to this week's feedback that we wanted to get the word out about. Here's our current plan for Scrolls of Empowerment for a patch in the near future. It's possible some of these numbers could change. This was posted directly after a meeting of which what we were going to do got discussed. So keep in mind that was before actual implementation. However, the intention, as of today, remains. The Dal Amroth Quartermaster now offers Scrolls of Empowerment Max Tier 59 for 15 Amroth silver pieces instead of Scrolls of Empowerment Max Tier 44 for 20 Amroth scroll pieces. So we're both increasing the max tier and decreasing the cost. That'll be a similar theme through much of what we see here today. I also realized real quick I had my volume up because I was playing last night, and in case the swells of the music in particular are causing some trouble, let me turn that down before I return to this. Okay. The Rangers of Ithilien Quartermaster will now offer Scrolls of Empowerment Max Tier 64 instead of 59 for 12 East Gondor silver pieces instead of 15. Narnaeth and Minas Tirith will offer Scrolls of Empowerment Max Tier 69 instead of 59 for 3 Minas Tirith Smith tokens instead of 4. Scrolls of Empowerment for Host of the West silver pieces daily will award 2 Scrolls of Empowerment Max Tier 74 instead of 1 at 59. And Scrolls of Empowerment for the Host of the West silver pieces weekly. The weekly will award 5 at Tier 74 instead of 3 at Max Tier 59. The quest Restoring the Three Kingdoms will award 5 Scrolls of Empowerment Max Tier 79 instead of 3. We're also upping the amount of scrolls you get from protecting the Beornings, protecting the Elves, and protecting the Woodmen. So that's what we were able to quickly get done following some of the more immediate feedback we received this week on update 28.3, and we'll be, I think, doing some additional work here in the pretty near future related to that. All right, let me, before I get underway in game here a little bit, let me go real quick and go through chat. Let me see what I need to reply to. Yes, this is in addition to the other methods by which you attain scrolls of empowerment. Let me just try to think real quick. There was some list I saw. Not a full list, but let me see if I can call it up real quick. So, some of the feedback is specifically about the Minas Tirith dailies, right? That we saw on the website of various places this week. There are additional sources of scrolls, like the Rangers of Ithilien, both before and after the changes, that are going to speed up the process a bit. A lot of the numerical values have focused on solo scroll acquisition, most efficient, and that makes perfect sense, right? That makes perfect sense. But it's worth mentioning that in addition to the changes we have, there will remain other methods by which you can in-game earn scrolls of empowerment, including some pretty reliable sources like non-cap featured instances. For example. So we are taking a look, at the feedback holistically as we implement some of these changes. Because clearly this has been a pretty controversial subject, I'm going to not say a lot about the nature of any of those changes until they're fully vetted, implemented, and ready to go. So I think what we're going to do there is leave it at that. But if I can comment a little bit more as I go through some of the other chat questions here, I will. All right. How long have I been? Okay. Let me see. There was a couple of other things. Closed world transfers have been in the near future since October. Might be time for a new forecasting phrase. True. Aldo C from Twitch. I have been promising that an awful long time, have I not? It is, however, more accurate today than ever before. So there we go. And we know that you want it. We want it too, and we expect that world transfers returning from the closed game worlds will be happening here in the near future. All right, let me head on over to YouTube real quick. Can we get an increase to Scrolls of Empowerment rewards? Definitely is something we'll be looking into in the future as we look at the system more in its entirety. We do want to do a legendary item revamp. I know that at this point it's not really worth committing to because we've clearly been saying we wanted to do it for quite some time, but have not yet produced a large legendary item revamp. That doesn't mean work hasn't been done. As a matter of fact, far from it. Quite a bit of work has been done about it. But it does mean that we've promised it for quite some time and have not yet delivered. So that's something that we will be working on, hopefully in the near future. We've got some cats meowing. We've got... Sorry, my cat distracted me. I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, legendary. Yeah, we will be working on that. hopefully in the near future, and we'll have more to say about it then. I don't really want to go I'm heading over to YouTube, by the way. I don't really want to go into a wider philosophical debate / discussion with people in chat about the Scrolls of Empowerment changes and how it reduces reliance on older content. I think that we, along with you, have not felt that grinding through the Minas Tirith stuff at the pace and requirement that it's been has been particularly good gameplay, and that's one of the issues we wanted to address, along with other issues that needed to be addressed related to perhaps some reasons that I really just kind of don't want to get into related to exploits and things like that we had to make some fundamental adjustments to a few things. And we also wanted to make some changes that we knew were going to be unpopular, but that we felt strongly had to be made in place. It is our hope that as we continue to address your feedback, we'll see further, further results from that work. Why did character transfers get deactivated? We're doing some work behind the scenes on some kind of our. Well, it's deep into the weeds, technical systems that keep the games working, and we're doing some work there, migrating from one platform to another essentially, and we need to shut down transfers while that takes place. Okay, let me head on over to Facebook here quick. Make it easier to get Scrolls of Empowerment. I think that is, yes. I think that we've already announced with this week's changes some intention to move in that direction. And I think that that is a direction we will continue to be focusing on here in the near future. Can I talk about what's on the horizon game-wise? Full ahead to Gundabad or another region first? The answer to that will be coming in the near future. Sorry, we are working on a producer's letter. In addition, we have got plans for another less formal, but still significant, sit down with Severlin to do a Q&A over on our Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook channels. Similar to what we did in December, we plan to do one of those in the near future. So I bet we'll hear some more about our plans for 2021 in that. If not, I bet we'll hear some plans from 2021 in that regardless. Okay. How are we doing on getting back to people in their chat rooms? Let me continue going through Facebook here. I don't have word about Osgiliath armor on the Legendary Worlds. Sorry. Let us transfer off the Legendary servers, please. I think that's an interesting discussion that's going to have to take place here as well in the near future. There were reasons why we kept it gated when the Legendary Worlds were there, and I think we should probably have a discussion. I think you raise a good point. Maybe we should see, do we still need to do that? Does the community want it to remain that way? Or I bet a lot of people would like to take their characters at a certain point away from the Legendary Worlds, or at least have that option. Now, that would be different from offering transfers to. This would just be from. But I think that that is something that is a pretty valid discussion that we could probably have here in the future. No more dwarf candles and hobbit gifts. I will let the team know. Any idea when that'll happen, Christopher? I don't know. We actually are pretty busy right now and have a lot of things that need to be executed on, as it were. So I don't want to commit to say it'll be as soon as we can make it happen. Is the plan? When we talk about it, when we have our kind of weekly meetings with various sort of departments and things like that, there's plenty of people saying, yeah, we're going to be doing that. Yeah, we're doing that. But it's just a matter of moving from we're doing that to we're doing that. And we're doing that X, Y, and Z and announced. And that should be coming here in the near future, but I don't want to commit to anything today. All my streams must feature a cuckoo clock. They kind of already do. All right. So, Terry Adwin, for example, giving some quality feedback on the Minas Tirith content and all that in chat. I think that we've been doing a lot of that reading really for a long time now, but it's in addition to this week. And we've been looking at a lot of that sort of thing. So I appreciate the feedback on that, Terry and crew who have offered some excellent feedback in Twitch chat, for example, that we can reference in the future. Queen Perwethian, or Perwethian. Queen Perwethian. Old topic. Any chance to get LP codes for giveaways since we can't buy them from the Lochero store? You, in particular, I am well aware of on Twitch, and I see you get a lot of views on your videos. So I would be happy to get you some points codes to give away to your Twitch channel audience. So why don't you hit me up on, if you had used the forums, hit me up on the forums. If you don't use the forums, hit me up on Twitter. But that goes for really any Twitch streamers who are able to pull in, let's just say, more than 100 viewers on the reg. If you reach out to me, I'll probably get you some codes to give away. However, the fundamental point of not being able to gift from the Lochero store is something we are well aware of and is something we would like to correct in the future. It's something we definitely want to bring to the new Lochero market when we can. I just don't know when that's going to be yet. Alright, I think I'm largely caught up on the chat that I can talk about. Alright, I, especially in this week of people paying very close attention to the words that are coming out of my mouth, I think it's best that I keep what I am saying shortish and perhaps have less opportunity to stick my foot in my mouth. So I think I've addressed largely what we need to address, and I know that there's a lot more discussion that we could have related to the philosophy of things and the reasoning for things and there's a lot of questions that people would like us to answer. Hopefully we'll get you those answers here in the future, at the very least through you seeing results from the work being done. Alright, real quick before I head them out, I'm going to refresh my coffee. I'll be back in just a second. I have to admit, in my personal life, I have been having a heck of a time sleeping lately. I know some of you are in the same thing when you work from home so much, right? Unless you force yourself to do it / commit to it, it's real easy to not get enough physical activity just by kind of working from home at the desk and all that every day. So you really do kind of need to set aside time for some physical activity, whether it's just kind of walking around the yard, or the yard if you're in Massachusetts, or your garden if you're in the United Kingdom, or just take a walk around the block or what have you safely with masks and stuff. Whatever you need to do, right? Or maybe you've got an exercise thing you do on the TV or what have you. But I haven't been doing enough of that, and so my sleep schedule has been a little rough here today in the past about a week or so. So I need to start doing a little bit more. Okay. Confounding Chaos has an excellent topic that we could discuss slightly. And let me just kind of wander around a little bit while I do that. So let me go low key, as it were, in terms of actually paying attention to the game. Any internal discussions regarding race, gender, animation speed? This person just Valard and geared a Stout Axe champion, and I'm finding out that the community feels Stout Axes have slower animations and thus slower DPS. I do believe that Lotro does have some level of variation in its racial animations, right? I believe that is true. I have not done the framework, as it were, to know what all is there, but that was my understanding as well, is that some of the balance concerns that we've had to run into over the years could be perhaps somewhat improved by us. Let me make sure I'm not going the wrong way. I'm pretty sure I am. How about I do this and go the correct way instead? Would be improved by doing a pass on animations across the avatar system, along with some things like that. So I think that I actually heard some discussion about that. It wasn't this week, but it was within recent weeks-ish, if I recall, where that exact topic of long-term what could be done did come up. That doesn't mean we're going to do anything short-term here, but I know, to the answer of question, is it something that we've talked about? Yes. And it's something that I think we, too, would love to have an opportunity to work on in the future. All right. More dwarf candles, you say? Can I talk about chat channels? What do you want me to talk about chat channels with, Tamless? I'm not 100% sure what you want me to do about chat channels. I know that we have had some level of... I know World Chat has been a reflection, perhaps, of society at large, in a way that has been deleterious to people's mental health in recent weeks. Hopefully some of that's behind us, and I know that CS has actually been working a lot to try to get that stuff done. You know, what can I say? All right. Yeah. All that politics and that. Regardless of whether it's against the terms of service, and I thought it was, because it's basically harassment and disruption of the gameplay experience. And it's certainly covered by that, if nothing else. But Oh gosh, people, don't do it. Nobody wants to hear your diatribe on world politics and world chat. Ever in any video game, ever. Period. Don't do it. Don't be that person. A public service message from Cordovan. I don't know what else. Actually, I'm just kind of. I'm really just doing very little here. Oh, I actually want these spears. Yay! I have a reason for being here. I totally knew that. Yeah. All right. Can I comment on upcoming improvements to the VIP subscription program? We haven't really announced anything formal, but it's something that we have also been discussing really over the past year plus in terms of what we could do there. And I would love to see us do some work in that regard. Make sure that we maintain the value of our VIP program pretty well. At least that's the goal. So if you'd like to see some more work on that, if you would like to see us do a little more work related to that, I think that you'll find a receptive ear inside of the office here. Again, when that would actually manifest in work being done, that I could not promise. But suspicious bark. Bark, 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 bark. Okay. I don't know what a suspicious bark sounds like. Perhaps wiser people than me can give it its proper credit. It would be cool if Locher could go to Stadia. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard of any plans to kind of adjust platforms or anything like that. So, but hey, I can tell you one incredibly dumb thing I'll be doing. And that is, I happen to have one of the newer, weirder consoles that have come out, and that being the Atari Vcs. And that thing has a PC mode where you can boot up Windows 10 on a SSD drive into the console's operating system, essentially make an alternate OS. And I'm going to see if I can get Lotra running on it. I'll be doing that just on my own time. That has nothing to do with official support whatsoever. And honestly, the support would just be PC anyway. But it's I'm going to give it a shot just to see if it runs. And if it does, it might be an interesting option for people in specific use cases. But ultimately, what that would be is just largely running Locher off a speedy SSD drive with Windows 10 on it. And that is pretty wide in practicality and scope, as it were, right? So, you know. Should just, ultimately we're talking about kind of mini PC specs on most modern consoles. or beyond. If you're talking specifically about a chat disconnect and reconnect issue, that is something we have been looking into, but don't yet have well, some of that is messaging. So what happened in the past was that you would get disconnected from chat and there was just not feedback saying that it would happen. There would sometimes, often be feedbacks when you reconnected, but there was not very good feedback when you disconnected. And one of the changes that we've made in 2020, can't remember the specific change, but it sounds like it's in this past year, was to better refine that messaging in a way that might lead you to get a few more messages, but it would, however, be actually accurate versus inaccurate. There's also then, of course, the second half of that, which is that we're working to make it less frequent. But at the very least, some of the additional messaging you are receiving is probably, in fact, related to messaging that you could have been receiving earlier. But you were not. However, we do know that there is a more regular chat issue that we need to look into, and that is something that we will be doing. Calm thyself, goat. All right. Okay, where do I want to go now? I got all the way to Sundergrot, Warg Riders, I think, Spears. Oh, spears are just up there, huh? Maybe that should be my next next target. So I'm not seeing any more goats with coins over their head. I am seeing plenty of wargs, but not much in the way of goats that need saving. So maybe I will head on over to a different part of the map. Oh, okay. Let me help Cord out. You changed things to help block a DDoS attack from happening again, which is good, but it had a side effect of wiping out user chat channels in some use cases. Did it indeed? So I had not heard that it, quote, wiped out any user chat channels. That's interesting. What specific kind of user chat channel did you run into that got, deleted, as it were? I'd be curious to know. That may well be related to some of the periodic chat disconnection issues. I would not discount that as a possibility, as a kind of a side effect of some of that work. But I hadn't really heard that it, like, quote, deleted any kind of chat channels. So let me know a little bit more what's going on there, if you would, please. You have to redo the join channel command? Okay. So, okay, yeah, I'll dig further into this when I have a little bit of time. It may well be that when I actually start digging into it, I'll be like, oh, I don't know, okay, that's what they're talking about. Never mind. Yeah, okay, I know what this is about. But I think that I'd be curious to know if we have two issues or one. The one issue would be you periodically lose connection to the chat channels, especially upon login. And the other would be user chat channels once created need to be recreated under certain conditions. Versus, say, dropped from the user channel. Rather, the user channel disappears and is no longer in existence. That in particular would be something I'd want to know if we have a legit thing with or not. That would be the new part for me. The disconnection and reconnection is something that I'm very familiar with. Oh, here's a rider. I'll take that person out. Well, one would be that the user chat channel once created was no longer able to be referenced, say, in a database query or something like that, right? And the other would be that the chat channel exists, it's just you're not connecting to it. Neither is desired, but you know, like the area of investigation would probably differ based on what was the issue. This actually seems like not the worst place to kind of head into, do a scary thing, and then call it done. Let's see what's what. Oh, let me also take care of the Taurog Reaver. Oh no! Where am I? Poison root. No, do not poison me, root. I would suggest not poisoning me, please. I would say to Niels that the timing of sometimes repair for this sort of thing is not going to be impacted by where certain feedback is posted. You know, we know that we've had chat stuff to look into, and we intend to look into it. So, I don't know that there's much that could, you know, suddenly change to correct that. But I know that you want us to work on it as quickly as possible, and so hopefully we'll be able to do that. I'm sailing away. Ah. How about a not? All right, you know, I think this might not be the worst place to call it a show for today. I do have a little bit of work here I can do, of course, and I'll do some of this before next week's show and some of it perhaps during next week's show. But I think we'll probably call it a show here after I do one last pass on our chat. I would say, Tenils, that we do keep a very close eye on all the stuff that comes into us through social media, through the forums, through our bug reporting system. We do actually read all that stuff. We don't necessarily respond to a lot of that stuff, and the pace of correcting that may take longer than you'd like, and we apologize for that when that happens. But in terms of how to get it to reach us, you have been reaching us, and we are reading it. So, easy recommendation is to post on the forums. If you @Locher on Twitter, I promise you that I've seen it, and so have others. So there you go. Hopefully as an answer to your question here at the end of the show. Will we see a patch next week? I have heard that it might be possible, but is probably maybe the weekish. I'm not in a position to say. We are actively working on one, though. So hopefully we'll have news in the near future for you. Nothing to announce regarding a kinship system update. 4K support is something we would absolutely love to do. It's a big project, but one that we have had to think about. Kirker, why yes I am. And sorry, no chance of a lifetime membership coming out again. Someone has in Twitch chat. Could we ever do that again? I am tempted to say the answer to that is no. Won't be happening. Alright. Thank you very much for watching Court of the Rings here on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I'll be back next Friday with more. And we do have, a patch in the works, along with some other things that for you. I also did get the event schedule updated for most of 2021. There are still some gaps. We're roughly tentatively planning to fill in those gaps with some encores and some other things. But that's going on. So take a look at the event schedule if you'd like to. And otherwise, I hope this weekend finds you safe, healthy, and you and everyone in your life doing well. So thank you very much for playing Lotro, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.